Hello, Rex. Welcome in. I think you were the first one here. I'm still getting everything set up, so we're not quite live yet. Still working on it. My fault. I'm just getting a few things set up, then we're good to go. Can you hear me okay? Okay, word. Yes, it is the community meeting. I'm getting everything going here. Still trying to get my Discord set up as well. So I was going to play PTR while hosting the meeting, but the servers are shut down, so I don't know what we're gonna stream. Probably semi-realism. Okay. There we go. That is set up. Okay. Get some background music going for you guys, just so it's not dead silence. What's going to go down is we're gonna probably talk about a few different things. I kind of want to talk about the overall state of the server currently. Discuss some report things, kind of open up like we did during the last community meeting, and kind of show some behind the scenes sort of things, and let you guys, I guess, see how moderation works and all that sort of stuff. And then we're gonna also host an open Q&A. So think about it kind of like live suggestions, maybe. I'm just gonna take in a bunch of feedback and get a bunch of notes down and kind of tell you guys how I'm feeling about the server, figure out how you guys are feeling about the server, and then go from there. What do you guys want? You want royalty-free jazz? Some jazz music? You can get some jazz going. And what would you prefer in the background? Would you prefer pot? I think we'll probably play pot. I was thinking either Path or Monster Hunter, because I need to have something on the screen to both keep you guys engaged, but also if I'm not doing something, I'm going to go nuts. Just staring at my screen here, so. That's good. Happy to hear that. Let me go ahead and get the events ping going. There we go. Okay. People should start rolling in here. I'm not going to fully get into it until 4 o'clock, which was our starting time. I'm still getting everything set up. My favorite dinosaur, that would be Stegosaurus. I hate Path's rendition of Stego. I think it looks terrible. Hoping for... I want them to rework it. Hello, Mystical Sorcery. Hello, Zetas. There's an echo. An echo. You can hear me twice, or what's going on with the echo? Oh, okay, no worries. I was concerned there for a second. Very quiet. I can turn up my microphone. How's that? I should be nice and loud now. Is this at all better? I can turn it up more if needed. Let's see. Let me make sure I've got... Sounds fine now? Okay, good, chill. What about Alderon Stego is ugly to you? I hate its sounds. I think it's got... It's not necessarily ugly. Like, I like the model. It's just a bit outdated. They definitely need to do some work on it. Sound-wise, they definitely need to change some of the noise. I'm very much hoping for a sound TLC. Been meaning to ask, are there any plans to encourage the herbivore population more, since I'm sure we can all agree the carnivores have been ruling for a while now? Yeah, I agree. There's definitely a lot of... There's a lot of overpopulation on the carnivores. Actually, right now, we're getting a lot of sty and a lot of iggy, which is good. To encourage herbivore population, it's sort of left to the community. We, of course, do the nesting events and everything to try to encourage that population to get a little bit more active. But, I mean, people have their favorites for sure. And we don't really want to try to limit a specific playable just to... you know, we're not trying to knock on anybody's fun, I guess, is the... There we go. Any information on PT's Brachiosaurus? Oh, brother. Not that I know. I don't know if do they have a Brachie on the Trello? Let me check. They do have a Brachie on the Trello. It's not started yet. So, no information on it quite yet. Are there any current plans to re-examine the Styracosaurus profile due to the immense amount of reports? I know Stry wanted to make some changes to the Sty profile with the TLC. I'm not sure exactly what those changes are going to be. I know a lot of the issue is honestly with... Hold on, let me get some music for you guys. This silence is going to drive me nuts. I don't know about y'all. Hold on. What do you guys want? I want some jazz. Let's do some jazz music. The Festin from Ratatouille. That is not what I... Sorry, if you guys hear my Rex, I apologize. I'm trying to get into the semi-realism server so we can have some stuff to watch. I'm figuring out sound balancing. Let me know if the music's too loud or quiet or what's going on there. Okay. Is the music okay? Jazz sounds nice? Word. And if we can't get into PT semi-realism, we might stream some Monster Hunter. Okay. Anyway, back to Sty, because I know Sty was asked about and I kind of got distracted there for a second. Yeah, so I think Stry's wanting to make some changes to the profile. A lot of it comes with people viewing Stry as over-aggressive, which, yeah, I mean, they're a very, very aggressive species. People have to understand that just because you leave a POI, let's say, you know, you're in Grand Plains, you're in that woodlands biome, and you leave the woodlands and go to, like, the next biome that they can't claim, and you sit on the edge, that, I mean, you gotta kind of consider the realism in that. That's kind of using out-of-game player knowledge. The Sty wouldn't know, like, don't just sit on the edge of their territory. So I've seen some concerns about that. I've seen some concerns about being chased down when you're, like, slowly walking and also 3-calling. If you 3-call them, they can attack you, you know, so you kind of have to be mindful about your body language. But as for the amount of aggression in the profile, I don't really know. what they're working on for it. I'm kind of... Here, let me see if I can... Can you guys see my game now? No. Hold on. Let me bring that back. Okay, I'm watching chat now. Can't hear music, no biggie. Shoot. My desktop audio should be on. Let me turn it up maybe. You could wander into a deathmatch like Juniper. I have admin on Juniper, I think. Let me see if I can get in there. Are there any updates on potentially the return of healing while sleeping and no cliff camping? I remember it was being looked into. You guys are killing me. I know that was really well received. I know a lot of people liked that event. A lot of people didn't as well. The poll was kind of 50-50. It is going to be revisited. I do want to take a look into that again. My thing is this: it would require a very large amount of game balancing. I would have to individually adjust every single stat change on the dinosaurs there. I know when we first ran the event, it wasn't even configured properly. I kind of put it together quickly to get something out for you guys. There were definitely some things that needed to be changed. That being said, it still ran okay. It got the results that I wanted to get from the event, but that was over like 400 lines of code. So even though it wasn't like the most high effort event, it was still a lot of work, and adjusting all the dinosaurs to that extent took a lot of time. To properly test that event again, I'd want to do a complete rework and rebalance and just completely go through and do all of that again there. And that's going to be like 600 different code lines, and I don't have the time for that right now. It's not the highest priority for me, but it will be revisited. I can say that. What's your opinion on Stry losing its frills? I haven't seen it yet. I actually haven't gotten in game probably for like the last 2 updates that pot's released, so I don't know. But I'm hoping to check it out. I want to take a look at it. I think it probably will look dumb. What's the extent of questions we can ask? What questions aren't allowed? You guys can ask anything. This is kind of like an open up stream. I'm not really avoiding any question. I'm trying to answer everything. Is there any plan to address the amount of people abiding more by rules than profile recently? Not sure what you mean by that. Profile should always come first. Obviously try to behave as realistically as you can. If you're in engagement, consider what your dinosaur would do. You also have to keep the rules in mind. That doesn't necessarily mean like, hey, you know, don't... I have 17 mods to unload. What the heck? Okay. Always follow the rules, of course, but profile, in the order you want to reference things, it's going to be profile, rules, and resources. Any update on Arizoa being put back in? I think Arizoa updated their mods. We just have to completely rework the map. We lost our save file when we made some server changes. I feel like cliff camping is becoming too frequent nowadays. Maybe limiting it is best. Will be trialed in that realism event. I hate cliff camping, but also cliff camping is seriously an issue. For Utah versus Iggy, they cliff camp all the time and then trap us under their hitbox, and it still isn't rendered as capable of revive when pinned. Fortunately, it's just the way of the game. If we issued revives for people who get cliff camped, or I mean, there's so many different things in this game that, you know, we would want to give revives for. Like, trust me, I feel bad when people get stuck against a tree or something, or maybe they crash during an engagement, and it always sucks. We don't give people revives when they crash during a fight, just because crashes can be stimulated as well. We can never, you know, prove if something's legitimate or not. Same with like the hitbox stuff. It's never intentional. It's just kind of a way of pot. And if we allowed hitbox revives, I mean, everybody would be reporting every single little bump in the road. It would be a crazy amount of work, and we already get like hundreds of tickets a day. Okay. Will there be more dino slots? Let me check how many we're at real quick. Yes, the answer is yes. Just let me see how many we're at, and maybe we'll get you guys some more dino slots post shutdown, because that's something that I forgot to update for a little bit. Hold on, bear with me. Okay, right now we have 40 max dinosaurs per player. We can up that to 45 after shutdown. How about that? I'm not going past 45 until Alderaan ups their limit though. Okay. Never heard the voice before. Oh my god, thank you. Any plans on making the camper applications more scarce again now that the server has accepted a lot of new actors? I don't know. I think check-ins talked about it a little bit here and there. We're doing the monthly. I would like to stick with the monthly. I like the monthly. I don't like the amount of work that the monthly brings. I know my team is overworked and it's kind of crazy, but I do like the monthly application openings. I didn't like how we were kind of stagnating. Let's see. When can we expect suggestion feedback? Where'd my picture go? There it is. When can we expect suggestion feedback? We're working on it over shutdown. If you made a suggestion for my profiles, full disclosure, I probably won't get to them this shutdown. I'm currently fishing. I got a lot going on, but I know that they're working on the feedback from May during the shutdown. How many slots are we getting now? 45. 45 dinosaurs. Either need to be limited or the application itself needs to be harder. What you guys think? That's crazy. I love you guys for that because you would be surprised. The applicants get very up in arms about how hard the application is. They're like, I can't believe we have to write a freaking documentary for my application. And it's like, guys, you have to write 3 sentences. Come on. Okay, guys, I can't get into semi-realism. We're gonna stream Monster Hunter. Is that okay? Are we game? Okay, cliff camping is one thing. Can we make a rule where visibly sick albinos can't suddenly be perfectly healthy when you try to hunt them? I get what you're saying. The answer is no. I love when people roleplay very sickly. I think it's very cool and immersive. A lot of the times albino things aren't usually going to be top performing or very healthy, so it's realistic for them to... Sorry, it's gonna get a little... Hold on, let me turn down my background music. There we go. It's not gonna be realistic for them to be suddenly healthy and just ballin', but also it's gonna be hard to moderate. It's gonna be a little bit rough. Any plans on doing more expeditions again, especially considering if you plan on keeping application opens on a monthly basis? Good question. The answer is yes. We do plan on doing more expeditions. Right now we are actually looking into... Ooh, this is something nice to talk about. I'm going to ignore questions for a little bit. I'm not trying to ignore you guys. It's just that brought something up that I kind of want to talk about a little bit. We are actually looking into expanding the trail guide program. So trail guides is going to be something that we're looking about getting some more people into the role for soon. I'm not going to go into a lot of details on it just because it's being worked on right now. So I don't want to like say something and then have it get changed there, as well as I don't really want to expose too much since they're working really hard on it. But that is something that we're going to be expanding soon. And then we plan on working on expeditions so we can have more people. Oh, my game's lagging. Ooh, I don't know if I can stream Monster Hunter. If my computer's been dying recently. I've had a very hard time with my computer. Let's see if you guys can see this. Hold on. It's not been working this stream. Capture my game. There it is. Hold on. I'm in my streamer arc, but I don't have the streaming equipment to to stream okay. I'm gonna be lagging a little bit. But yeah, trail guides is something that we're gonna be looking into. We want to start making documentaries, so we want to start making some educational documentaries for people to watch, to both learn the profiles and also just tell a story, because we have a really talented video guy, Curly Nectar, that I've been neglecting a little bit and need to work with him a little bit to get more content pushed out. So I could stream web fishing. This is true. Yeah, we might do web fishing. I don't know how well I'll be able to focus when I'm slaying monsters. Lethal Company, crazy. I really wanted to play PTR. My plan was PTR, and then I announced the shutdown, or I announced the event, and then shutdown happened, and I did not account for that. So that's my fault. Are you going to continue making more videos on this channel, such as the courtship videos, because they're really good? Oh, you took your message away. I was just reading that. Yes, I just answered that. I forgot to respond to you. I saw that. That's funny timing. Other realism servers have some really fun role plays to act out in their resource channels. Would PTR be consider adding something like that? Yeah. I mean, there's so much that I want to do with PTR. There's so much that I want to add, and there's so much that's been in the work for a really long time. And you know what sucks is getting 25 reports a day, and our team has to focus on that all the time, because there's a lot that we want to do that we can't do because of it. Will staff crack down harder on people that appear to purposefully avoid easier ways of food to do PvP instead of profiles? No. That's subjective. I can't watch a video and determine if there was an easier food source. I mean, we have the rule where you have to claim unclaimed bodies first. Would challenging for a corpse be an easier food source? Maybe. It depends on if what you're challenging is weaker, but also your dinosaur doesn't know how much food's going to be on that body, so it might take the opportunity of going for something that's alive rather than trying to steal from a corpse. So that's subjective. If it sees something smaller that might be easier to hunt, can it catch it as easy as the big para that it might have an easier time with? I can't, you know, it's not something that we can rule on reliably, because there's going to be different variations of what's more realistic. Have you ever thought about making Apex feel more like Apexes, since they can't catch anything smaller than them unless they ambush? Have you considered making them do more damage, or even scared? I'm scared. I mean, Apexes, they're pretty strong. I know Rex has got a really bad turn radius. I think about Rex a lot, but also Rex is gonna be monogamous soon, so shrugs. I want to see how that plays out a little bit. Will we start judging on TikTok videos directed towards PTR? Like, there's some horrible stuff thrown at us and it can be tiring. Man, I know, it's really tiring. I don't like ruling on things outside of the server, but also it's something I've kind of been thinking about recently, because I've seen a lot of misinformation be put on TikTok. Specifically when people get banned, they like to say, I was banned for XYZ, and then it's like, well, you know, if we take a look at all the evidence, there's some other reasons as well. So it's really tiring to see that all the time. I don't really know what to do about it, because I don't like to moderate people off platform. If it's outside of PTR, unless it's like extremely egregious, I don't really like to touch it, just because you know, freedom of speech, I guess, but also when you're slandering us and spreading lies, it's not the best thing to see. So it's something I'm considering. I actually think I brought it up in, well, not in staff chat, but I kind of spoke on misinformation and stuff in Ranger chat today, so there might be something coming to staff chat soon about that. Could you explain why you want to keep server applications open while admitting that processing so many reports prevents your team from doing what you want with PTR? I can explain that. I'm gonna sound like a little baby. I have a fear of missing out, and I'm terrified that if I shut my server down for longer than like a month, people are gonna forget about PTR. That's the reason. It's my complete honest answer. I like my server, and I like the community that we have, and I like having people in that community, and I don't want to slow down, I guess, is the complete truth. Even though we're kind of stalling, we are kind of stalled currently because of all the, my overlays are acting up. Sorry, I don't know why Monster Hunter just popped up. I'm off the game. Get out of here. That is sadly not an acceptable reason. Okay. It is my reason. I mean, it's my truth. You know, it's how I feel about it. That's the answer as to why applications aren't closed currently. Is PTR going to open up a third server because of how many campers there are right now, and with many new campers that are joining monthly? Wow! What a question. I remember when PTR was completely full on both servers every day. That was good times when we really needed a third server there. Right now, we are not at the capacity to make having a third server necessary. Right now, we are about... we get like 130 people in one of our servers for most of the day, and then the other one fills up during really active hours, like around 5 p.m. Eastern, maybe 6 p.m. Eastern, and then they're both full until that like 8 p.m. restart, and then things kind of dwindle down a little bit. So I don't think we need a third server right now, guys. I think we're kind of chilling. Let me get web fishing open. Hold on. Can you guys see? If you guys want to join my web fishing lobby, that'd be chill. Let me turn off my jazz music because it's going to get overstimulating to have two different things. Are there any future plans to work on the Giga profile? Right now it's a bit of a standstill. Giga profile? Huh. I forgot about Giga profile. Who wrote Giga? Let me check. I mean, I think there's some discussions about it in the chat there. I'm not too sure what's going on with Giga right now. The answer to I am fish doesn't make sense. That is my personal feelings as to why. I mean, that's not to say that that's not going to change. That's my personal, like, kind of answer to it right now. It hasn't come up in a while to ask about applications closing that I have seen, so it's not really something that I've thought about, but, I mean, I'll bring it up to check-in, of course. Talk with check-in about how things are going right now. Has it been considered to moderate cliff camping for dinos above certain sizes? Probably test it in an event. How many reports do y'all get per day? I like that question. Let's find out. Hold on. I will be looking away from chat for a second because I don't know how to get my web fishing code. Oh, invite friends. Oops, that's not what I want to do. Settings? I don't know how to do this. Yeah, of course, Shrimp. Sitting at 8 a day for public reports, and we get quite a few in for private as well as sometimes we can get in upwards of like 20 talk to mod tickets a day, 25 to 20 a day. You can get a lot of work, and 8 a day, it might not sound like a lot, guys, but that it really adds up. I think you need to start a new lobby. Go back to the menu. Why are you telling me what to do? I'm just kidding. I love you, Stry. Do I do this? Private? Stream isn't displaying web phishing. I'm going to kill this. Hold on. I'm working on it. There we go. I don't know why it keeps cutting out like that. Create game. Can you guys see? Okay, it just, every time I try to do this, it goes wonky mode on me. Hold on. Sorry guys, I am not a YouTube streamer. This is not my profession for a reason. Can you guys see now? Okay, it's cutting out. Guys, okay, we're gonna have to share this picture of the wonderful Sachi. And we'll leave it at that. I'm gonna close web phishing. I tried to get this figured out before I went live on YouTube today, and it was giving me some hell, so we'll go back to our Sachi and our jazz, and I guess I'll stare at my screen and answer questions for y'all for 2 hours. Okay. Who said that? I saw somebody said something that I wanted to talk about. King Dane. Wouldn't it make sense to pause applications in general and close the server for a period so staff can handle their reports more efficiently? That's crazy, because I was actually just thinking about that, and I brought it up to my staff team the other day, where I was like, guys, the only thing that I want to do with PTR is shut it down for a whole month. And for that month, we would catch up on every single report. We would catch up on all of the tickets. Oh my god, that went so loud for a second. Catch up on all the reports, catch up on all the tickets, get all the changes that we've been sitting on for a while, because there have been so many changes that we have essentially ready to go that we just need like some finalization on to push that out, and we haven't, just because things keep getting stalled. So I was thinking, like, man, I would close this server and I would push these changes out, and PTR would basically get like a facelift, you know? But I get so scared. I get so scared that people are gonna hate PTR for it. That's like maybe 2 weeks. Maybe we closed for 2 weeks. I mean, we closed down for a week at the end of the month anyway. I meant people, not game. What do you mean? Oh, shut down people. Oh, no, dog. I was talking about shutting down the entire server for like 2 weeks just so we could completely facelift the Discord server and get everything up. Two weeks wouldn't be enough. I know, bro. We we have so much to do. It's crazy. Could always put out a poll on who would return at the end to facelift to help show you that people wouldn't just poof. True. I don't know. It's nice to think about. It's nice to like be like, oh, you know, what if we did this? But I don't think I could actually do that. I think I would feel too bad about taking PTR away for a month. Are there any plans to rewrite any herbivore profs to incorporate monogamous pairs? Because 10 out of 31 carnies are monogamous and 3 out of 22 herbivores are monogamous. I don't know. Sorry guys, when it comes to profile questions, I don't know a lot because I don't write a lot of the profiles. I know my profiles. The only herbivore I write is Yanano, and I'm not making Yanano monogamous. Would it be possible to make herbivores make a bit more marks than carnivores? I mean, when you spawn into PTR, you get infinite marks regardless, and if you're talking about like the allowance that you get for playing hourly, that hasn't worked in like 2 years because Popbot's still trying to figure out how to code that. Unfortunately, there's no in-game way to individually code marks per diet either. Is only healing when sitting down coming back? I touched on that a little bit earlier. I definitely want to do another event on it. I just haven't had the time to do the 600 different line codes for it and testing. I can't even figure out Carnivore Drain right now. Alderaan has some funky stuff going on with their drains, man. I swear it's not working as intended. I see what you're saying, but I do think that more focus should be put on your fellow staff and how swamped they are with the current state of things. I get that. That's why we do the monthly shutdown at the end of the week. That's why we're getting a bunch of new staff in currently. We're going back to bringing in staff on a more regular basis to try to get more people in. We're actually not as backlogged as we used to be. Our current staff are doing wonderful right now. I mean, we're still backlogged, but backlog's never going to go away with a server as big as PTR compared to our staff team. That said, that's something I wanted to touch on. Kind of wanted to talk with you guys about... Kind of wanted to talk to you guys about... Sorry, I got distracted. Muffin, to answer you again real quick. Coming back in an event. Gotta test it later on. But wanted to talk to you guys about getting the, something about our report system, man. I don't know what it is. Right now, we're trying a few different things. We've seen a lot of reports come through where people talk it out, they meet a resolution, everything's looking great. Thumbs up on both sides. They're like, hey, you did this wrong. One party's like, okay, I'm so sorry. The other party's like, no, you're all good. I'm not going to report you. And then they turn around and report them anyway. When we see that, we're no longer giving out penalties for it. We think it's redundant. If you've already reached a resolution, if you've already met like a resolution with the other party, there's no point in penalizing them, especially if you say you're not going to report them. So staff have kind of stopped applying penalties for cases where players have come to that conclusion together. There's also cases where... I'll get to that in a second. That's funny. How do you feel about former staff members referring to the staff system as a cult? I don't get it. I don't know what that's about. I'll be honest. I don't think our staff are a cult. I mean, we get new staff members in all the time. We have a mentorship system to help them integrate into the staff team as well. I think our staff team's really friendly to most staff members. A lot of the issues between staff kind of are from personal disagreements or disputes, but I don't think that the environment on PTR itself is a cult. I don't think we're cliquey. But yeah, back to the report thing. I hate that crap. It's pulled all the time. Agreed. Yep. I hate it too. I think it's dumb. I don't know. If you meet a resolution with the other party and you guys are big chillin', I think it's redundant to report them, especially if you haven't lost a dinosaur. And if you have lost a dinosaur, I think you should private report for a revive. If you guys talked it out and you're fine, then if you want your dinosaur back, just make a ticket, you know? I really want more staff members to outright say, talk it out, dude, and discourage reporting from minor rule breaks. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now to please talk it out. Please. I hate it. That's one of my gripes right now, is I see a lot of very small things getting reported over. And that's not to say that there's anything like, I mean, you know, every rule is a rule for a reason. You know, if you break a rule, there's a chance you can get reported. It's just kind of how the server is. You know, rules are there and they're meant to be followed. But there's a lot of rules where you guys can just kind of talk it out amongst each other. And it's never going to be a requirement where we're going to force you guys to talk it out. Because I know a lot of people don't like to talk to other people. A lot of people might get anxiety due to it, or just... they don't want to have that discussion, and that's fine. It can be emotionally taxing. I get emotionally taxed when I'm trying to enjoy my game, and then I have this person go, well, you actually broke blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dog, I'm trying to have a good time. You know, so I will never blame somebody for not wanting to engage in that discussion. However, if it's something as simple as like, I don't know, there's so many different things I can think of, but one of the things that I talk about the most is like a victory call. You know, like you haven't lost your dinosaur to a victory call, and yeah, it's bad manners, it's rude. Nobody likes to be victory called, but maybe they're a new player. I think it's beneficial to remind them, and if it happens again, report them. Will you consider making this a written rule? It's too subjective, man. I can't force people to talk it out. It's there. It's at the top of our mission statement. Hold on. Because we gotta... Can you see my screen? Okay. It's here. Try to talk things out rather than jumping to a report. Mistakes happen. Gentle push in the right direction does wonders. Work with your peers, not against them. So... It's there, and we say it all the time. Don't jump to a report. It sucks. But, you know, people be people. No neutrals absolutely is being metagamed. We're gonna pull it. We're gonna pull it. Let's pull it right now. Let's get this going. Hold on. Create poll. What question do you want to ask? Should neutrals return to PTR? Should neutral biomes return to PTR? Yes. No. In 24 hours. I spelled no wrong. Okay. WWD's report from had a section that said, did you try to talk it out for us first? And honestly, I really liked that. Yeah. I want neutrals back. Is there anything that could be done to help the Utah overpopulation? Oh god, Gojira, you're gonna have 50 people coming at you with pitchforks in a second. No. There's not anything that we can really do about it without absolutely either necking the playable either in profile or rule or stats, profile or stats. We either make the profile incredibly boring or we nerf it to the ground so it's unfun to play, and that's not something we're ever going to do to try to cull a population. You know, we're not here to rain on people's parade and kill people's fun. There's things that we have tried to do. I know there is an issue with clans kind of infinitely reviving itself, and a lot of people were trying to negate the, oh, leader dies, clan's dead. You know, they would try to revive and keep reviving, so we've started asking people for the name of their Utahs as well as the clan that they're in. And if we see that Utah die more than once, we abolish the clan. So, I mean, that's something we've tried to kind of crack down on Utah moderation a little bit, but as for the overpopulation, I mean, there's not really anything we can do specifically. Popular dinos are always going to be overrepresented. Yeah, that's exactly it. And don't get me wrong, guys, Utah, it's a fun profile. It's a really fun profile, and it's a really beautiful playable. I can't blame people for enjoying Utah. I enjoy Utah every now and then. It's a really nice looking model. The thing about it is, what gets frustrating is every single time PTR makes a change, the only thing we get is, how is this going to affect my Utah stocks? That's what we get every single time. We could make a change about Amarga, and then it's, oh my god, Utah can't hunt Amargas anymore. You know? So that's kind of my only gripe with it, is I'm tired of hearing about Utah for the smallest change that we make on PTR, but it's kind of just, it's our most popular dinosaur. I mean, I think what Iggy was at 7,000 respawns and Utah was at like 20,000, so it's kind of nuts. Okay. I'm looking at chat again. Will PTR combine 1 and 2 when Alderaan gets 200 servers up? That's my plan. I would like... Gondwa's a huge map. There's so much land on Gondwa. So I would like the 200 players just so we can have more interactions and see things more. Thanks back to the 18,000 respawns on... Yeah, that's exactly it. It's kind of nuts. I remember when Iggy used to be like that. I do not have an issue when it's an herbivore, man. Just because, you know, that's... Herbivores are a lot more of an integral part of the ecosystem than a territorial medium carnivore. So I kind of wish it was on something like Iggy, but it is what it is. Okay. Does PT will ever create a Spinosaurus mod? I'm not too sure. I don't believe there's a Spinosaurus on the PT Trello. Well, hold on. There is a Spinosaurus. No, there's not. There's a Gigantospinosaurus. I don't even know what that is. That's crazy. Oh, it's not even a Spinosaurus. It's an herbivore. Kind of looks like Kentra. What a silly guy. Look at this thing. That's funny. I thought that was Spino. Spino is on the Trello? I don't know, dog. I looked up SPIN and there's Gigantospinosaurus. They talked about not making already made pot playables. I think that's true. Okay. Can I not call it to my nearby pack herd members to let them know the hunt is completed or the threat is gone without it being labeled a victory call? If you're in a group, wait 5 seconds. After you wait 5 seconds, you can broadcast. That is legal to bring your guys over. I'll get the rule for you. Where is it? I'm lazy. Hold on. Victory. Oh, I was literally looking at it. Yeah, broadcasting at the end of an engagement is considered victory calling. Players should wait 5 seconds before broadcasting, which can only be done to call over engaged group mates. If you're solo, do not call people over. You have nobody to call over. If you're solo, it's going to be considered a victory call. If you're in a group, wait 5 seconds. Then you can do whatever you want. This was coming. Is a Hats nerf on the way? They're too strong. I don't know. I don't know much about the stats that we've got right now. I think Hat's got some changes. I think Hat's got some vanilla changes. I don't know if they need the nerf anymore. I know they used to be pretty strong on PTR, but I think they did something to Hats. If there's someone in the Discord who's repeatedly harshes the vibes due to mini modding, is it worth submitting a ticket to talk to a mod about it? Oftentimes it doesn't feel report worthy. Okay. That's a good question. That's kind of hard to navigate on our side. Because if they're just correcting stuff, like if they're saying like actually, you know, like, hey, make sure you follow this rule and stuff like that, I don't think that corrections should be viewed as harshing the vibe or mini modding. I think it's fine to point somebody in the right direction. If they are trying to like stretch that power a little bit, or if they're coming off as like quite rude, you can make a ticket about it and we can see if it's against the rules. If somebody's harshing the vibe and just saying like really nasty stuff over and over, like PTR sucks and I hate the server, every day I play here I'm reminded of why I hate the server, blah 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 blah, that's something that we pull them in for. Because if you hate us so much, why are you here, man? You can have your opinion and everything, but when they constantly bring stuff into the chat like that, it gets very tiring for everybody who's having a good time, you know, campers and staff alike. It gets very tiring for us to see, so we do talk to them about stuff like that. That I would consider that harshing the vibe. Do you guys work closely with the mod devs? Because I noticed there's always emotes that are used in profile, which is so cool. Yeah, man. Nautilus and Kel, they're my homies. We do work very closely with the mod devs. We get to know what's coming out so we can prepare the profiles beforehand. If there's dimorphisms that we want to suggest and stuff, we can give ideas for skins. We can give ideas for emotes that we think would be cool in the Realism profile. So we're officially partnered with them. They have been very kind in giving us the resources that we need to make the profiles be as great as they can be and make the most sense as possible with the mods themselves. Staff apps are open when they are players under 18 allowed to apply. Do staff members ever take more than one rule? Good question. 2 answers for you. Our age requirement is 20 years old. It was 18, but I feel like the stuff that we get exposed to on the PTR staff team, I feel like there's a different level of maturity that is needed, and I feel like 18-year-olds don't fully encompass that, so I like to have 20-year-olds on the team, especially with the stuff that we see. We see a lot of NSFW, we see a lot of slurs, we see a lot of zero tolerance, we see a lot of very careful situations that we need to navigate in a very particular way, and it's really good to have some older people on the team to help navigate with that. And then second answer for you, yes, staff members can have multiple roles, but if you want to have more than one role, you need to be able to do the duties for each role. So you can't be check-in and ranger and not be able to meet and not be able to like help out check-in while you're also doing your ranger duties, you know? You'd have to be able to balance both, and it's hard. Will there ever be any events about teaching people profiles? We have done some events like that in the past. It's something that kind of got put on the back burner because Toby, who used to be a warden on PTR, they used to host those, and they used to work with the naturalists to get those up and running. Without them around, it's kind of been something on the back burner because we've had to focus more on staff side of things rather than getting expeditions out and stuff, but it is something that we want to return to, and we've talked about it quite a lot recently. What's my opinion on Cathrax? Hate it. Next. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's that bad. I'm just so used to Rex being a nocturnal hunter. Same with it being in the forest. I could never give Rex a biome change just because I'm so used to it being in the dense forest. Like, that is what Rex is, you know? There is a Rex profile rework coming. I am working on that, but it won't be cathermal. Oh, sorry, Fleur. I'm really sorry. There's a lot of chat going on. Can't help but feel like my question is being intentionally looked over. Is bullying from PTR and DMs not ruled on because you don't want to touch anything non-zero tall outside of the server itself? That's kind of like the gist of it, I guess. We don't really like to rule on anything outside the server unless people are spitting slurs or being very aggressive, like telling people to do some nasty stuff. So it's not really something that we like to touch on. It's very... Oh, hold on. This fucking dude. Hold on. Hello?
Hey.
Hi. Okay, guys.
No, I literally just...
We have Nautilus in the chat as well.
Hi.
But... yeah, so, I mean, we're actually looking into it again, Fleur. Bullying is definitely something that we want to address again. I mean, it's really hard to navigate. We don't like to rule on stuff outside of the server. It's, you know, people are entitled to their own opinions and everything outside of PTR. I don't want to pull somebody aside because they said, like, Knives is a poopy butt face in their PTR friend group. Like, it doesn't feel nice to rule on. Everybody can have their opinion. When it gets to a certain point, if it's like, I think you mentioned something about DMs. I think DMs are something that we are wanting to consider, but we need the full context. You can't take a screenshot out of context, because I'll tell Nautilus in DM, I'll be like, I hate your guts. You know, what if Nautilus screenshots that and then reports me on PTR and says, I'm being bullied by Knives and DMs, you know, when that screenshot was taken from 3 months ago when we were previously friends. So there's a lot of context to consider when it comes to DMs. That's one of the main reasons why we don't touch on it, just because friends will joke around and everything.
To answer the question though, earlier about Spinosaurus, Kel wants to do Spinosaurus. It's just on the heavy back burner because we're waiting for the TLC.
Word. Okay, there should be an event to make new profile pictures for the animals that got a TLC. Some people are taking really good photos, and it'll make it easier for you. I'm sure we'll do something for that. Can we please close applications for a while? It's brought up earlier. I kind of want to bring it up to check in because there were quite a few people that had pretty strong and valid opinions on it, so it's something that we'll bring up to then. I am taking notes on stuff that you guys are saying, by the way, just because this community meeting's like an open suggestion floor, so I mean, if you guys are suggesting good changes, I'm taking notes on them, and they will be touched on later on, so. Any plans for ocean profile changes? Sachi is degraded to an ocean sarco, as both its prey items, Urino and Kai, are almost impossible to ambush in the open ocean, and having to cannibalize isn't fun. I mean, Sachi can go into saltwater rivers and everything now, so it can kind of do a little bit more. I like Sachi's profile. I think it's an engaging profile. That being said, you do have to have somebody to play with to fully enjoy the aspects of Sachi profile, so it does kind of suck. I don't think that's issue with Sachi profile, more so it's an issue with how Gondwa's map is. I think Sachi would be a lot more fun if more things were actually in the ocean. Not PTR related, but what's your favorite Wizard 101 realm? Bartleby. Fire.
Just to further extrapolate on the Sachi issue, or Sachi interactions and all that stuff, it's something that either has to be fixed by adding nearly triple, I would say, the amount of aquatics and having a consistent player base, or having a better map.
Mm-hmm.
The big issue with Gondwa is that you're dealing with, I would say, 2 large sections, and you never have to touch water. Sachi in particular, especially after I get around to fixing it, it's a pain in the ass, won't be able to really like, outside of PTR, won't be able to even access most freshwater locations. So it's just a case of needing to change officially with either more playables or a better map system.
Mm-hmm. There was a question up here. Hold on, where'd it go? Any thoughts on revamping the Urbies can carry a carny with a body? It sucks as a carny to get a body in a place you don't even know is claimed. It'll need to be chased off your hard-earned food. Oh, man. I like that rule. Just because as an herbivore, I think it's dumb to be like, oh, I'm extremely territorial and aggressive, and I'm not going to push you out of my territory because I want you to enjoy your meal. Congrats on your meal, buddy. So that's my gripe with it. It's kind of a weird balance between realism and people needing to eat, I guess. Maybe have it I don't know. I would say like maybe there's a nice middle ground between not challenging carnivores on a body that are actively eating, so like letting them eat, and then once they're done eating, push them off the body. But then that's just going to result in people T-posing in front of the carnivores and waiting for them to stop eating. So it's kind of a weird balance right now, but make a suggestion about it. I'd like to see the community's input on that because I like it. But maybe having it in a more official setting where more people can kind of talk on it would be beneficial there. Would y'all consider an event to boost the activity of PTR's ocean and beaches? Yes, that is planned for the future. There will be an aquatic event.
Yeah, just to further extrapolate on that, I was working with a few different modders regarding some aquatic mods. One of my friends who is actually making one was interested in doing a Lypleurodon, so we have stuff in the work. It's just a matter of time and getting all of the spoons in the color drawer.
Taitofi asked a question about Dynon packs being separated by gender and was wondering why that was implemented. Because that's how I want a Dynon profile to be. I think it's a very unique aspect. It's how I wanted Dynon to be since the start of PTR. I got voted against when it first happened, but I like it. I think it's an engaging profile. It's really unique. We don't have anything like it, especially with the sneaky males sneaking into sororities and the different territorialities depending on gender. So it's not for everyone, that's for sure. It's not a profile that everybody is going to enjoy, but I don't plan on changing it right now. Do y'all have an answer as to whether Ankylosaurus will still be made as a mod?
Anki is a very what's the word I want to use? Volatile playable currently. Recently Fadino's estimates, which are the reason why like we had it originally, it very much downsized. It went from 9 meters along the centro to I believe a little under 7, if my memory serves. What that means for stuff. Sorry, I was reading something. What that means for things like Anno is that it's going to be practically the same size as Anno. And the issue with having Anno and Ankylosaurus is that they're nearly identical in appearance.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be the same thing if I were to do Paleoplides or Sauropelta or whatever the fuck. But it's the fact that Anno and Anki are so similar looking, and they're going to be around the same range. And the whole deal with PT's thing is that I don't want to stray over 10% of the maximum specimen or whichever specimen that we happen to choose. It's mainly for consistency, and if something were to happen to a playable in the future where it gets resized to be more accurate for X, Y, and Z reasons, it's just insurance for Kel and I, because it's a lot of effort to make a playable different size.
Yep. Why are any community decisions being made without taking a vote? Example, major biome changes. If every single community decision was made based off of a vote, that would suck. PTR, we are not a democracy. I do value your guys' opinion. It's the reason why we have suggestions. It's the reason why I do poll things every now and then, but every single decision is not going to be left up to a vote. For this particular change for the biomes, I did get the data that I needed. We're taking suggestions on biomes, and I plan on going through and reworking the map for a second time, because the old biome map was a little bit outdated. We did want to make some changes to it. As for why the particular changes weren't implemented, I don't really know. I mean, what would we have pulled? Like, what do you guys want the names of the biomes to be? Like Badlands, Plains, and stuff? We were going to make some changes on where things were regardless. It was just kind of, we wanted to test it out and get some data and some opinions. I kind of know what we're going to do with the biome changes now. I can tell you guys a little bit about that. I'll touch on that in just a second here. Brandon Boyd asked the same question 5 times now. Should I just not? Can you ask it again and I'll promise to answer. I'm sorry if I'm missing your questions. Here's what I want to do with biomes. Let me pull up my little list. Okay, so I want to add neutrals back. We're polling it right now. Let me see what this poll's at. I liked neutrals. I think it'd be good to have them back. Yeah, so we're at 335 for yes and 118 for no. So great. I mean, neutrals are probably coming back then, which is part of the plan. I'm probably going to remove dense forest versus woodlands, and just kind of make them one forest biome. Reason being, it's very hard to tell when you're in the moment the difference between dense and woodlands. I mean, if it's got a lot of trees, some areas are going to be more sparse, some areas are going to be less sparse. So when you're actually in game and playing on your woodland forest dinosaurs or whatever, it's really hard to tell. I don't like it when it's that hard to tell in that split decision there. So probably going to condense the forest biomes down into one, just so it's a lot easier for people to take a look into. I'm going to keep coastal removed. I don't like coastal. if your profile has coastal aspects in it, for example, Lambeosaurus like to hang out on coastal and they like to swim to nearby islands, you can still do that. I mean, coastal is still considered as the coast. It's just not going to be considered its own biome. The reason why is because a lot of people would get challenged out of a territory and stand on the coast and just T-pose assuming they were safe. Maybe elaborate on some intermediate biomes. We are not going to be introducing the intermediates where it was like forest plains or arid forest and stuff like that. I think that is going to be done for completely. However, add some information about the intermediate biomes where it transitions from, you know, an arid biome to a plains biome, and kind of elaborate on when you would determine that to be arid versus plains, just because we do have that stipulation. Hold on, let me show you guys. Where is it? We do have this stipulation in the biome resources, wherever this is. I'm so lost, guys. It's somewhere. There's somewhere here where it says that the biome borders are not accurate, so use your better judgment. Because there's not going to be an easy way to tell when exactly something transitions into arid versus like badlands every time, so use your better judgment between. So that's something I kind of want to elaborate on. That'll be touched on a little bit, but that's kind of what I want to do with the biomes there. Can we get seasoned players to sponsor newer players to help newbies learn the rules and how to navigate the Discord? I think it would help the community grow closer and cut down on newbie reports. We wanted to do a mentorship program. There were plans for a mentorship program, and then it kind of fell through because we would have to like watch the mentors and help the mentors, and we already have to watch the scouts and help the scouts, so all of my rangers are busy mentoring the scouts, and we can't do a dual mentorship program where we're both training new staff and training the community. I think if you want to be a helping hand and point new players in the right direction, that's absolutely wonderful, and I thank you so much for doing that. You know, if all of your sources are cited and everything, I think that's wonderful, but it's unfortunately not a program that we can afford to host right now. Hope I got that answered for you, and now I'm catching up on everything else. Are there any plans to close all of the loopholes that people took advantage of with neutrals? Could I get some elaboration on that? Because I want to know what loopholes you're thinking of. Will PTR ever get a new map? Well, map developers are really hard to find. I would like a new map. And if something good came out that was better than Gondwa and not crazily huge and was compatible for both platforms, I would consider testing that map out. Can we please close applications for a while? We touched on this a little bit earlier. I'll be discussing it with Check-In after stream. I think Check-In would appreciate the break as well. Is Zero Tall ruled on outside of PTR if it isn't hate speech or aggression like political or darker discussions / jokes outside of PTR content? It depends. Context is always important. If you're having a political discussion and it gets a little dark, we don't really like to rule on politics unless you're spewing some absolutely heinous stuff. If you are joking around with a friend, context is dependent. If you are saying, I hope this person does something very harmful to themselves, and you're targeting them in that sort of manner, and that gets reported, that would be ruled on. Loopholes like species that dislike open areas lingering in those open areas. I think my question was already answered though, since you won't have a combination of biomes anymore since there's less of a chance. Yeah. Yes, there were plans on that. I was actually talking with one of our profile writers about it. I think I was talking with Ankle Annihilator about the biomes and everything to see what we'd do with the profiles, and they had some really good ideas for restricting things like Utah, hanging out in the middle of salt flats, so that is something we'll take a look into. Would you guys ever consider disabling Wanabi for people with snake phobia who can't play certain biomes / dinos? Alderaan made their arachnophobia filter, but a snake fears got left out. Could look into it. I'm sorry about that. We don't need the snakes, I guess. This is a minor thing, but is Rockfall Hill planned to stay as shrubland? Oh, where'd it go? Shrubland or be swapped to a forest biome like woodlands? Rockfall Hill? I don't think Rockfall Hill is dense enough to be considered woodlands. Any plans to do more documentaries on different parts of profiles? Yes, we want to start making documentaries. Documentaries will go over parts of profile, but be more focused on story-related things. I kind of want to start doing just PTR documentaries to tell a story and focus on like one little dinosaur from the start of its life to the end of its life and feature other dinosaurs in between and have like voiceover in the background being like, here we can see a sneaky male Deinonychus sneaking into a sorority, you know, just kind of like explain the profile in that regard. In-depth profile videos is something that we kind of want to work on, but that's more in line with the plans for the trail guide program. Forest should 100% still be split. You can't tell me Grand Plains and Dark Woods are the same biome. I agree. I think the idea with it was adding like open forest and closed forest and having it to where they I forget what exactly it was, but they like both of them, but they couldn't claim like a certain one, or adding biome restrictions in the profile, like for example having Utah be unable to claim Grand Plains because of how open it is, but it's still considered as a forest, you know, if that makes any sense. It's still in the works. We're still trying to get everything worked out with it. Biomes are on the top of one of the things on the top of the list right now to fix up, because I know how kind of frustrating it is for you guys with how the biome map is currently and how it's being played out in games. So we're looking into it, but there's a lot of stuff to consider. Will those documentaries feature the average player as a main character or just staff? It wouldn't be focused on a player. We would choose like a random species and we'd be like, here is Duke the Iguanodon. Duke the Iguanodon has been born today, and it wouldn't be like anything where we focus on a player, but more so just a random dinosaur and just kind of tell their story. Do you know?
It would be extremely
No, sorry, go ahead. I was just reading something.
Gotcha. It would be extremely messy if we had someone shadow someone, especially because there can be rule breaks, there can be different things. So ideally, if you're looking to record what an ideal thing would be, it would be in a proctored setting.
Yeah, and we want it to look good too. So I mean, don't get me wrong, you can make something look really nice with replays and everything, but we wouldn't be able to rely on one person to kind of show their dinosaur, because it would be staged, of course. We would make a script and everything and play that out just so we can show everything we want to show.
I wouldn't mind seeing, like, having the community being able to suggest, like, a skin for stuff, though.
Yeah. Backing off of, why are Utah and Badlands if they prefer more of a covered area for ambush attacks? I think we wanted to trial it to both kind of split them up a little bit more and get some things into the arid biomes. We wanted to try it with a popular profile like Utah, but also Badlands, don't get me wrong. I mean, they might not have as much dense cover with the trees and everything. Badlands are... You can do a lot with Utah and Badlands. There's a lot of different height to jump off of. There's a lot of ambush opportunities in Badlands. You can jump off of tall cliffs and land down on your prey. You can ambush if you're smart about it. If you hide in like a corridor and, you know, catch somebody off guard as they're passing through like caverns and stuff. There's a lot. I think Utah really thrives in Badlands. I've enjoyed seeing them there quite a bit. I know it's not for everybody. There's a lot of people like it. A lot of people don't like it. It's kind of 50-50 right now. But every single time I play Utah, I always ask the group that I'm in, how do you guys feel about Badlands, Utah? Because I'm curious, and a lot of people actually enjoy it. It's not as dense as a forest for sure, but you can still get off some really nice ambushes. I don't think Badlands are closed off as much as people, or open as much as people think. I'd be happy with Rex liking Badlands and Utah liking Woodlands instead. If people hate Badlands, Utah despise the cover since male Rex has always ventured into Arid at night. I don't like Arid Rex. I'm not a fan of it, I'll be honest. Will Naturalist application be open sometimes in the future? We are not looking for profile writers right now. Trail guides will be kind of like the starting role. If you wanted to become a naturalist in the future, you'd kind of want to become a trail guide to get your foot in the door beforehand. And that's something that we're working on right now.
There isn't nearly enough new playables to justify having a large team of profile writers.
That too. I mean, it would be nice to have more people just so we can, keep the profiles like clean and everything, but that would mean like if we wanted more people to keep the profiles clean, we would have to assign people to already written profiles, and I don't know. We have the profile writers for their profiles for a reason, so. Are there any plans to revert the alpha critters back to the nerf they had before the update? I have tried. I think I got pinged in Firewatch chat the other day and somebody found a fix that we're gonna try once the servers are back up, but I have tried everything in the books to nerf alpha critters. I don't know if it's an Alderon thing or if it's something that I'm doing wrong, but trust me guys, I've nerfed their combat weight. I've tried to make them die in one shot, which makes every other critter die in like one shot now. For some reason I just haven't been able to adjust alpha critters. Why are Arizoa mods still downloading when joining the server when the mods aren't used anymore? I forgot to take it out of our mod list. We still have the Arizoa mod, we just don't have anything placed around, and we need to place stuff around again, so. Let's see. Are there ever going to be changes to Ana profile? I'm not the writer. I'm sorry, I wish I could tell you. I don't know if they're working on Ana profile right now. Gestures vaguely at suggestions around the corner. It's so weird Alpha Dynamo dies in one hit, but Alpha Silly takes several. I know. I've put every single config on them possible. I've even tried that wonder. I've tried to make it to where their aggressed combat weight is like 1, so they wouldn't aggress anything past a combat weight of 1, which is like every dinosaur in the game, so I don't know what's going on with them. Is there any plans to address profile writers that seem to be / act possessive over their profiles? Can you elaborate on that? I mean, they have a right to put what they want into the profile. It is their writing. But I'm curious to know what you mean by that in specific. Would anyone be willing to help me learn a few select dino profiles? I haven't played in a while, otherwise I would. When can we turn off alphas? That's what I'm saying, bro. Too many of them for no good reason. I agree, lackadaisical. We've got some resource stuff in the works. For example, how to properly roleplay, like being a deaf dinosaur, or we can put albinism in there as well, like things you can do to roleplay albinism a little bit better that we want to put into the resources. Because, yeah, I mean, there's a lot that you can do with it. You can pretend to roll around in mud, or you can rest in ponds and get the cool water on your skin, or sit in the shade and maybe walk a little bit slower, be a little dazed by how bright the sun is. A lot of different stuff that you can do, and a lot of things that we can maybe recommend to people. I'm talking about ones that get very aggressive when talking about profiles they've written and seem to talk down to campers. Have you made a ticket? Because they shouldn't be talking down to campers. I haven't seen anything like that. But if you want to report a member of staff, you can make a public report or a private report. It doesn't matter. Even if it's a staff report, you can still make it public. But yeah, if there's genuine like bullying or talking down on things going on, definitely bring that to our attention. They can be firm about it, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with saying like, hey, I don't feel like changing this. You know, if they don't want to change it, they don't gotta. But if they're being genuinely rude about it, that's something that I would like to correct. Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you for looking into that. There's a new curve override that affects critter behavior called combat settings, and alpha critters by default will always fight. See, Firestarter, that is what, that's what one of the Firewatch pinged me in the other day. I think Vesper brought it to my attention. So we're gonna try that. We're gonna have that in effect when the servers come back up. Because, yeah, if that's new, then it's not something that we've had before, but shout out to Alderon, I guess, for finally giving us something, right? Do you think there's ever any intention to make profiles more clear-cut on what is and isn't allowed every single day, man? We do that every time we look over the profiles. There's always an attempt being made to trim down some of the ambiguousness of the profile. So they're working on that quite a bit there. It's hard to do all in one go. I mean, we have so many profiles and it's so much writing. Like, we've got... Shoot, if you put all the profiles into a book, we'd have ourselves like 3 novels, you know? So it's a lot of stuff there to go through, but yeah, they're working on them, and suggestions are helpful for that. And we also have staff looking out for things like that as well, and pointing out contradictions and the may and may nots and everything. Any specific non-PTR mods that you really like? I'm really excited. I don't know who's making it. I don't know if you know not, but who's making that Kieran?
The Kieran would be made either by Atsagrilla or Inventium, depending on which mod team took ownership of it after they split.
I gotcha. Yeah, I'm really excited for Kieran, and I really like the City Patty mod. I think it's really cute to pick other things up, so I like that a lot. I'm a little nervous about turning off my volume to RP being deaf. Due to being deaf, I nearly got reported because I didn't hear a 2 call during a challenge. Yeah, it's difficult. I would recommend, if you get into an engagement, maybe trying to turn the volume up, or just trying to be very aware of the body language of the other creature. Like, if they start to back off, maybe back off a little bit as well, to see if they fully leave the area. That's what I do when I'm playing Deaf Dinosaurs. I either try to quickly turn my volume back on, or I play with like music and pause my music when I play, or just like take the engagement very slowly to see if I can see a visible 2 call, or see if I can like see them walking out of the area if it's a territory challenge. Deeds. Is that dubious deeds? We're working to get applications and are finishing up training material, guidelines, tasks, etc. Okay. There you go. Rosspaw making Kieran and she's stuck with Exargilla. Yeah, the Kieran looks really nice. Any plans for another temporary non-PT modded dinosaur in the future? For an event, yeah. Not, when will Austro mod be done?
Every time that someone asked about it, it's delayed by a week.
You guys want a sneak peek of Austro profile? I'm writing it. It's gonna be crazy. Will it be semi-aquatic? No, it will be aerial.
It will be semi-aquatic. Currently, from what we know of Ostroraptor and its relatives, is that it would have been a wading animal. Something that I do want to clarify, because I've seen this touted around a lot, it is not fully semi-aquatic in real life, but it will be in game for the sake of gameplay. In addition, most animals are fully capable of diving, floundering around in the water. There are very few animals that physically cannot swim. So, gotta keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm. Tell us if they're knocked or die. Calf. No, sorry, they're crep. They're crepuscular. How to become a director? I don't know. Good question. Director is not really something that's... Yeah, director is not really something that's that you apply for right now. I've got one director and he works alone, so. Can Ostra be gay? I think so. Right now they can be. So unless I change it, they can be. But right now they are written as non-discriminatory individuals. They will be with anyone. I'm the owner, I know, but I'm still writing Ostra profile, so it's subject to change until I figure out what exactly, like, I have the idea hammered out. I know what I'm gonna do with it, but as I refine it, there are some aspects of profile that inevitably get taken away, and being gay was one of the things that almost got taken away just because I couldn't decide on 2 different courtship methods. But I figured out a way to make it work with the courtship method that I wanted and giving them gay rights. So I think Ostro would make a great pair-only profile since they can escape into water unlike Metri. So Ostro has a few different groupings. Here's what Ostro does. Ostro will form groups of up to 8 adults. These are sedentary groupings. They're kind of like Suko rafts, where they engage with each other and they bully each other. They can scavenge, but only from other Ostroraptors, so they will steal each other's food. They show off to anything that looks at them. They are very showy and very prideful. Eventually they get tired of this grouping as they mature. So they start leaving these groupings and going off to, they start to become roaming. So they leave their sedentary groupings, they become a roaming species, they visit ponds, they visit rivers, they visit lakes, and they will engage with other solitary Ostroraptors. So a lot of their life is spent solitary, and they posture from a distance. As they posture from a distance, they kind of start to look at temperaments. They might show interest in courting another individual by showing off from a distance and doing some elaborate dances with them. If the two like each other, they'll pair up temporarily. They're very quick to nest. They are considered promiscuous because they can also form polygamous trios. So when an Ostroraptor finds a new mate, they will engage with them very quickly. They like to nest immediately just because nesting is, I guess, the truest form of if they are compatible or not, depending on how they do parental care. Ostroraptor, here's the part about the profile that I really like. There will be mate challenges, and other Ostroraptors can challenge for mates. So weakly paired bonds if it's their first nesting. If somebody better comes along and they show off, they have cooler dance moves, maybe they're a little bit more colorful, they'll try to steal that partner. And then those two will go off and nest again and see how they figure each other out. There will also be, in these gay pairings, obviously, you know, they can't reproduce on their own because they are the same gender. So what they'll do is they will have one of their mates go off on their own and pretend to be solitary, lure someone in of the opposite sex, do the mate dance with them, little courtship, show off their feathers, make a nest, and then the other the other mate will essentially show up and be like, hey, actually we are a gay bonded pair and we are in love, and then they will challenge the female off the nest and essentially take over her nest and make her go solo again. Females will also do this with a male, so they'll force the male off the nest, and the two females will raise the clutch together. So they have black swan nesting. So that'll be fun. And then in the event that a strongly bonded pair, let's say an Ostro comes along and tries to challenge the strongly bonded pair for one of their mates, if they're not interested, they will just push the other Ostro away. They'll be like, dude, we're strongly bonded, get out of here. But if they're interested, they're like, hey, I like your moves, you dance a little funky, maybe you can chill with us, maybe you're actually kind of chill. They can form polygamous trios and see if that third individual is compatible for their bond, and then they will be a trio for the rest of their lives. So quite a lot of different groupings for Ostro profile. There's going to be a lot of really fun aspects to the profile. Ostro is one of my favorite dinosaurs. It's the mod that I'm most excited about for PT. So I wanted to put a lot of the behaviors that I like, as well as I really like solitary dinosaurs, I like strongly pair-bounded dinosaurs, and I like trios. So I tried to put all of them in one. Will the female get nesting timer if they're kicked out of their nest? Nope. Their nesting timer can get reset, so they're not stuck waiting a few hours to not nest again, so her nesting timer will not exist. But the gay pairs will. They will have a nesting timer. Does Cam have a profile in the works, or do you guys wait until it gets to a certain point in development before you begin working on it? We start concept building once we figure out what's coming out next. So once we get informed that a dinosaur is coming out, they'll start making a concept, but further along in the development is when they start actually writing it and hammering out the final thing there. Is Ostro solitary? It can be. A lot of its life is spent solitary. Somebody has a Skeleto question. Will Skeleto be shadow dropped with Ostro?
That I have never made a concept for it, or it's been revealed publicly. No.
Black swans? Yes, they have black swan courtship. What's dimorphism like? It'll be behavioral, so any skin can be any color. Behavioral dimorphism to establish gender.
At least on the mod size, both male and female have different coloration, I think is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
The default one, which is based on herons, has like bright blue and white males and more earthly tones for female.
Mm-hmm. When not nesting, will they be strictly solitary? If they haven't established a strong bond, yes, they will be solitary. If they are in a strong pair bond, they can hang out with their partner or trio. Is sedentary Ostro grouping for those below sub? No, it's for adults, but it's up to you, the player, as to whether or not you want to be in the grouping of 8. usually younger Ostros will hang out in these groupings of 8s. Younger Ostros are menaces. I have it written into their profile that they are absolutely terrible little cretins, and their parents hate them because of how destructive and stupid they are. Like, constantly running around, constantly screaming, picking fights with everything, just absolutely terrible. So a lot of them get kicked out of their familial groupings, and they get sent out to go have fun in these groups of 8s and just pick fights with each other over there instead, because their parents cannot stand them. So it's up to them. As they age, they will get a lot calmer. They will realize, hey, I need to go, like, figure out my own life. I'm leaving this group, and that's when they become solitary. But in those sedentary groupings, young adults will be welcome in those sedentary groupings, so it's not adult only. You can have juveniles in those groupings, but the juveniles are relentlessly bullied. So, sucks to be them. But the juveniles love it. They love to be there because they're like, wait, I'm with my people, and then their people are terrible to them. So, funny stuff. Good stuff. How does the grouping of 8 look like when the profile is geared more to 1, 2, 3, or is it natal groups before they disperse? It'll make sense. It will make sense once the profile's out. I've got it all written in there. It looks pretty good. So pleased with this news. I was worried about what Austria profile would be, and this is exactly what I wanted. What if I just made Aquatic Utah? How about that? It's not going to be for everyone. There's going to be a lot to do in the profile. It's a very complex profile, and there are going to be hunting restrictions. Austria is not going to be a dinosaur that hunts anything. They're going to be restricted to smalls and mediums, unless they're in, unless they can ambush something. They will only hunt larges if they're in the water or sleeping. So, you know, it's not for everyone because you know, you're not going to be hunting as much. You're primarily a fisher, so baller. Will it have a dynamic with Utah? Probably not.
Ideally, you want them completely separated from each other. They don't need to interact.
Yeah, exactly. I know somebody asked about Rex changes. Yeah, Rex is getting some changes, man. I'm kind of like rewriting the Rex profile. They're going to be monogamous. It's going to be crazy. Wait, we have so many monogamous carnivores. But I've wanted monogamous Rex since the start of PTR, and my wardens, when Farrago and Toby were on the team, or I think it was mostly Toby outvoted me. Toby was so against it, and it was so funny.
Be completely fair.
No,
Rats
I totally
back then
get
was
it.
A horrible being.
I totally get why she was so against it, but I could have made it work, and I'm going to make it work. I have a plan. Guys. It'll be great. I know why she did it. She I don't think I can say that on YouTube. I miss Toby so bad. Monocarnivore makes sense for most creatures. Herbivores are a prey item who usually... Yeah, that's exactly it, Somni, and that's why I think a lot of the profiles haven't been monogamous for herbivores. They're really fun to play. I really do wish we had monogamous herbivores. Every time I play with my partner, I tell them all the time, like, man, you know, I wish there were more monogamous herbivores, but I get it. A lot of the Earth animals just kind of are indiscriminatory, and they'll breed because part of their life is to reproduce and make more of the prey items, so. Toby strayed from PTR, unfortunately, yeah.
For a long hiatus, they stepped down, and
yeah.
That's unfortunately what happened.
Yeah, it's a long story. But no bad blood. I do like mono herbies, but at the same time I like being able to court with my friends' dinos and not being stuck to one. Yeah. And that's mostly it. Mm-hmm. If only we could eat grass. That's what I'm saying. And give us the grazing system, please. It is what I beg for. Don't make it very nutritious, but make it at least make us not starve. That'd be sick, man.
Personally, I'd like if they allowed for edible trees. That would save my.
Yeah.
It would save me so much fucking effort.
Yeah. What do you think, guys? Should we do these streams more? This is kind of fun. I'm ballin'. What happened to P Banks then? I haven't seen them around in a bit. They got banned and their report discussion was public. So you can read that. They made a TikTok about it and they said that we banned them for PvP stuff, which wasn't even mentioned really in the verdicts. I think it was touched on, but that was like they didn't get a penalty for that or anything, so they didn't get banned for PvP content. They got banned for something else. But I'm not gonna really touch on it in this stream because I don't want to focus on airing out somebody, you know. But yep. I would like to voice act for y'all in the documentaries. Ooh. Maybe you should, I'll keep that in mind. I'll keep that in mind for when we flesh things out a little bit more. What happened with Quet's flight stam? It's so bad now.
So do you want the PTR answer or the PT answer?
We haven't made any stat changes for Quet's, I don't think, but go for
Just
it.
one that you guys have. So basically what had happened, at least on PT's side, is that at least I think like 2 patches ago, they changed something internally that I had to fix with how the game calculated fast flying cost stam. With that being said, HOTS still has, what's the word I want to use? Shittier stam than Kets. Kets is still better at flying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't have any Kets overrides for stamina that I can see. So, probably just that, but Yar. I mean, we can look at maybe buffing the stam a little bit. I think the profile writers were kind of talking about it. I'll miss Toby. They helped you understand the Lambia profile. Me too.
The most recent patch did fits Sunlit, by the way.
Word. When did that come
might help
out?
Out the patch or?
The patch, yeah.
A few days ago.
Okay. So check it out after server comes back up from shutdown then, y'all. Because it'll be better. Let's see. Cats had some rough stam issues. Yeah. It'll be better. Any future plans on dealing with roster bloat when more vanilla/PT mods come out?
Yeah.
Oh man. If we have to, I mean, we'll probably start getting rid of some of the vanilla dinosaurs because we are a PT server first and foremost. It'll be hard to create a completely unique idea for the profile each time. Here's the thing, it's like, yes, there will be a lot of profile bloat and a lot of roster bloat and everything, and it'll suck because, you know, let's say your favorite dinosaur is Concavinator. Conk's not really that popular, and I know a lot of people dispute that, which is funny because you can say something's not popular and then people will be like, well, I saw 50 the other day, and it's like 50 on a good day out of a month where our total spawn-ins are 1,000 for that species, you know? Stuff like that. I don't want to take away somebody's favorite dinosaur, but it's something we'll probably have to look into in the future, unfortunately. Just so people can interact with more of their species, because it'd be better, I think, to go around on a limited roster and have more of a chance of bumping into one of your kind rather than seeing the one obscure species I mean, they're cool to see, don't get me wrong. I lose my shit every time I log in and see a lurd. Which, I wish got more love, man. It kind of sucks that most of the aquatic and like semi-aquatic stuff doesn't get played on too much. But again, I blame Gondwa. Will you be replacing pot aloe with PT aloe? Same thing with Rex. Pot dinosaurs will get replaced with their PT variants.
One thing I will say regarding aloe, because aloe is actually a special exception, is the fact that aloe is in game is dramatically upsized. Like, I believe it is around the same size as Allosaurus anax, which I know you don't deal with dinosaurs too terribly often, but it's basically the difference between a pygmy hippo and a hippo in terms of size, if that makes sense. So aloe might be its own separate thing, depends on the profile. PT aloe would be based after Fragilis and specifically not the God, I can't pronounce the thing. It's Allosaurus SP, which means that it's not going to be 12 meters long. It's going to be 9.7 is, I believe, what Random Dinos has it. So it's going from, again, I can't clarify vanilla aloe sizes, but I can clarify Torvo. Torvo's around the same size. Torvo's 12 meters on the dime. So it would be essentially a slightly bigger or slightly smaller Dasp versus Torvo in terms of size.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Oh, which does remind me, for the sake of Knives' sanity, please keep PT-related questions to a minimum. This is primarily for PTR.
Guys, I think we will probably close stream in like 30 to 45 minutes. So if you have any questions that I neglected to answer or anything like staff side, moderation side, maybe you want some behind the scenes like moderation stuff like that to get answered, plans for the server, kind of get back on track and ask those a little bit. Any plans to make certain dinosaurs have certain normal skins so there are big groups of the same pattern animals? I love same skin herds and packs. I think it's awesome to see. It's very cool and realistic, but I don't like to stifle people's creativity. So long term, no. But when people make same skin only nestings or groups, I think it's the coolest and people should do that more. That'd be cool. What happened with natural events that used to happen, fires, etc.? Arizoa mod broke. I think it's fixed now, so we'll be looking into those again. Event planner roles opening up, not currently. Do you know when the next event might be? Not currently. I think there's an event going on right now, but they're working on a few different ones. Man, there's one that I've been working on for a while, but I haven't been able to do the testing for it. It's gonna be a crazy event. Are you guys going to make Kai enjoy crawling on land soon? I feel like their profile needs a TLC. I think so. What's the least played animal? Could you check? Oh, brother. I think somebody did it recently where they checked it out. I'll see if I can get an answer on that. Microraptor profile. Any ideas on that? I think Caesar's writing it. I'm not sure what they have planned for it. It'll be a little guy, though.
So they briefly streamed it to me and it seemed really interesting. It's not something I'm going to reveal publicly, but it seemed interesting.
How long do PTR profiles usually take to make? Does it vary? It varies. It depends on how motivated you are to write the profile. It depends on how much information we have on the PT mod. It depends on what we want for the profile and if we need to do any balance testing. So it kind of depends, but usually about I mean, I brainstorm for like 2 weeks and then I kind of do all my finalization in the last week. So like 2 weeks to 3 weeks for me personally, but everybody works differently. Typing questions on console mid-gameplay is a recipe for fail RP. Can we get a console exclusive voice chat to help console players ask questions to more seasoned players so they can learn as they go? Unfortunately not. If you want to voice chat with somebody that you're going to group with, you can ask them if there's a server that you can join, like a PTR dedicated server or a like a group chat or something. I won't do PTR specific voice chats just because I feel like that's a recipe for disaster. I feel like a lot of reports would come out of that just because I can't trust people to behave themselves. If you're asking profile questions, by the way, full disclosure, I'm not going to be able to give you full answers. A lot of the profile side stuff is truthfully up to the profile writers. They know what's happening with their profiles better than I do right now. I'm a little bit out of touch in that department because I've been focusing a lot of my energy on the staff side of things. But I'll do my best to answer. But if I say I don't know, please don't get mad because I don't know. Dynasty players are joining PTR. That's why there's a Utah overpopulation. There has been a Utah overpopulation since the Utah remodel came out. That's the truth of it. I don't think it has anything to do with Dynasty. It's always been a thing for the last, like... When did Utah remodel come out? Like a year ago? I think so. Why does stream only have 17 likes? Because everybody's vibing and they are watching and they are not worried about liking. I'm probably in the background while people are doing other stuff. Oh my god, the chat's going so fast. I'm watching it come through my like OBS stuff and it's a lot slower OBS side, but oh my god, on the YouTube side of thing, it's so quick. I just checked. That's crazy. Can we put it in the rules that crashes count as server restart / reboot? Yeah. Yeah, I'll do that. What was your favorite thing about making Yuna profile? I miss old Yuna profile. I liked the bullfights and I liked the funny King of the Hill aspect of the profile. That was really fun. I thought that was in already. It is. There are different... Oh, with crashes? I don't know. I don't know if it's in there. It might be. Yuna bullfights back when I rewrite the profile. That's on my TLDR, guys. I'm rewriting Yuna. I'm rewriting Rex. Well, I'm not really rewriting Yuna. I'm just kind of restoring the old profile and changing some stuff. And then I'm rewriting Rex, and then I'm writing Austria as well. This isn't meant in a rude way, but how come Utah groups are raised? I know the actual reasoning, but I remember someone stating they wouldn't change it. I didn't want to change it until 200 player servers, man. But I lost that battle. I still kind of think we should have waited just because I think it contributes a little bit to the overpopularization of it. But, however, this is what I will say. People were loopholing the grouping engagements. They would have 2 clans in the same territory and have the 2 clans like chill with each other. So they were breaking profile because they were pretending to be chill with this other clan because it was just an extension of their own clan, you know? And they would like metagame and hang out with this other clan. They do the same with dispersals where they have tons of dispersals that are dispersed from the main clan hanging out in the clan's territory, and the clan doesn't challenge them out because, oh, we're related, we love you, you know, even though they should still be challenging them out. So, I mean, that's kind of why, that's one of the reasons why it was raised. We raised it by 2 just so people would stop trying these groupings, you know, and it helped a little bit. I mean, it still happens. It's hard to prove, but they go crazy. They go crazy. How does one make sure staff aren't biased when it comes to reports with other staff, friends, or people who have reported them? That's a good question. Bias is one of the things that's kind of hard to prove. So our staff, we have a... You know what? Let me show you guys. Hold on. Have you guys ever seen our staff code of conduct?
I don't believe it's been shared publicly.
Okay.
Recently.
Okay. Here's our staff code of conduct. Professionalism behind the scenes. We don't talk trash in a private setting. Anything that can't be said in PTR should not be said in our staff chat. So that's part of the stuff. Do not utilize staff channels to discuss campers in a bad light. No trash talk is permitted behind the scenes. That is grounds for demotion. Watch how questions are asked and answered. Take your time. Mentorship program. We do a mentorship, so our newer scouts and everything, they get, I'm just making sure that I don't have anything sensitive here. The mentorship program, the scouts get paired with a ranger to kind of guide them through the new role. They can finally enforce the rules as a scout. They cannot use the role to flash their status or power. They're here for guidance and leadership, can't pull rank, never leak staff content. If anything is discovered to be leaked from our staff chats, that is grounds for demotion. If you are, for example, even if there is a situation where a staff member is like, hey, can I get the answer to this question? And somebody gives the answer to them in staff chat, they still have to ask for permission, like, can I take a screenshot of this and send this to the camper? Just because we discuss a lot of sensitive material in the staff chat, it's a lot of like, NSFW discussions, zero tolerance rulings, stuff like that is always in our staff chats, so we never leak it. Always ask. Can't be stressed enough. If they don't know the answer, please ask us. In-game and Discord rules, always abide by PTR rules. Substances, if you know that you cannot act professionally because you're under control of like a substance or something, don't work on staff work. Obviously, you know your own limits. 2FA, that's just for protection. Separating personal and personal, or professional and personal, don't handle stuff in DMs. Admin commands, no metagaming, no purpose besides helping our community, don't abuse commands. Rangers, Firewatch, and Wardens, changes are discussed as a team. Always value your opinions. Don't hesitate to reach out. Sometimes campers can be passionate. Don't hesitate to ask for backup if people are getting too abrasive. Training. You have no powers over the trainees. Involvement and bias. Here it is. Sorry, I was reading everything because I think it's important to show you guys, everything that we have. Just because I don't know if we have ever shown this before, but involvement and bias, to answer your question, you are not allowed to handle matters that they were directly involved in. Staff are not allowed to handle matters that they have bias in. For example, a friend made a report, you can't claim it. This is not due to our assumption of bias, but how other campers may perceive a positive versus negative outcome where friends are involved. You are not the staff friend. You cannot help your friends skip the report ticket queue. You cannot get logs or other information for friends in an unofficial capacity outside of tickets, official discussions. You cannot circumvent the report ticket line by asking about things for your friends in team chat. In-game usage, whisper them instead of typing something out in global. So if people are misusing global, don't call them out in global. Unless multiple people are misusing it. If there are multiple people at the same time going blah 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 blah, then you call them out publicly and be like, hey guys, whispers please, because you're not addressing one person, you're addressing multiple. Etiquette, obviously, don't argue with other staff members. Discussions should always be civil. We don't want staff at each other's throats. That's not a constructive work environment to be in. So be friendly, be helpful. If you're getting emotional in a discussion, step out of the discussion. Conflict of interest. Can't be a staff member in another pot server because we get insights and previews of future mods, current playables, and profile stuff. So we don't want staff on other Realism servers. It's a little bit different for deathmatch servers, and we can discuss that with them a little bit in depth to see if there is an exception for their conflict of interest there, but yar. That's kind of our code of conduct. So bias, if there's a situation where you believe a staff member has ruled with bias, always make a ticket so we can take a look into it and see if they've broken code of conduct. A lot of the times people will assume somebody's being biased, but if I check it out and there are no rules broken in the verdict and the staff member says there are no rules broken and you expected the person you reported to get a warning, but they didn't break any rules, so they didn't get a warning, and you get upset and think that the staff member's being biased, and if you make a ticket and I tell you, hey, no rules are broken, shrugs. There's no bias there, it's just no rules broken, When the Arizoa mod is restored, will the Pearl and Birchwoods return? I miss little guy. Hey, you're not supposed to know about that. That's supposed to be a secret, man. Maybe. I don't know. I might put it somewhere else. You want to know why I put it there? You guys aren't gonna like the answer. I hoped that people would jump into it and get snatched by Sarkos. I kind of put it there so Utah clans or Latins or Ketzes or whatever would go into there and be like, "Ooh, look at the shiny pearl I found," and then like swim around and try to bring it back to their group and then get snatched because I thought it was funny. But hey, if you get it, more power to you. Why? Because if you jump down to get the shiny thing, there's got to be a risk for it. Being staff on more than one Realism server sounds like so much work. Yeah, that's crazy. I couldn't imagine. I mean, conflict of interest aside, if you're going crazy and you're managing to meet your like 3 report quota on PTR and meeting your quota on another server, you're wild and you're crazy, and I kind of respect you for that, but also not allowed, sorry. I thought the pearl was just for Latin's betrayal. I did put it there because Latins like shiny things. It was for Latins, really. Because I'm biased. I love Latin. Is being over 20 for staff mandatory? Yes. Most places won't let you duo staff, yeah. It's kind of a standard across pot communities. Kind of sucks. But, you know, it is what it is. How often do you have to do 3 reports? 3 reports per week is what is expected of our staff team. If you cannot meet that 3 report quota, you do have to communicate that with us. There won't be any punishment for not meeting the quota as long as it's communicated. We don't punish anyway. Like, if you don't meet it, we'll pull you into a ticket and be like, hey, you haven't met that report quota in like 2 weeks. We're probably not going to pull you in for the first week of not meeting it, but we pull it in and we go, hey, like, are you okay? You haven't met your quota in a while. And then you'll be like, oh yeah, I've been so busy, or I have this going on. And we say, okay, that sucks. Let's put you on light workload for a little bit, or do you need to go fishing? You know, so we'll give you the option. It's whatever you think you can handle. But it's not, we're not evil. We're not gonna bring down the hammer and say, if you don't meet this quota now, you're fired, you know? What level of tolerance will Utahs and Osters have to spamtons in their territory? What is a spamton?
That it's just being vivid.
Okay. Add tags on servers saying complex behavior and simple behavior on profiles. We don't want to turn anyone off from certain profiles. If you read it and it's a little too complex, I think that's up to you to decide as a person. Also, I think we're out of profile tags, low-key. Do you know if there will be any sort of quotas for trail guides? I think there will be some work expected out of them for sure. I mean, every role has things that are expected out of them. For trail guides, it's kind of hard to determine what's actually necessary, but it's good to bring up. Spam, what is happening? Estimated time on Vivid ban right now. Who is this? Spam, what is this? What am I looking at? Is this a Tumblr sexy man? Okay. Will you ever go over, demonstrate the server and our Discord rules? Also, thanks for answering my last question. You're welcome. Yeah, we do events like that. It's mostly for when applications open. I think I've done like 3 of them. So it's not too often that I do it. Don't
scroll too really far.
Yeah, I turned it off. I don't trust Google for things like this. What was I saying? What was I lost topic. I lost my train of thought because of whatever I was looking at. Sorry guys. I hope nothing popped up crazy. I don't think anything did. I think I would have seen that. But also I'm very distracted right now. Yes, we do events like that every now and then. I want to host more of them. They're really helpful and I think a lot of people have fun with them because we do like little mock events where we show off like we do a fake engagement and we show like two things fighting, and then we purposefully break like 3 rules, and then we ask like, okay, so what rules are broken? And then it's a game that people play, and they get to guess what rules are broken and see how many they got right, and then we'll kind of go over it further in depth, and it's kind of fun. So I like doing those. Can we have EU matriarchy span all the way to great-grandchildren? I don't think so. I mean, I'm not EU writer. That's one of the things that I unfortunately can't answer. I'm the super cool server owner, but I don't like taking hardcore ownership over profiles because they are, you know, creative writing and everything, and I'm not gonna force something that the profile writer doesn't want. I'm not sure if there's been a suggestion on that, but if not, waves my hands. Did they say anything about 200 people servers? When they're out, it is planned. I'll probably just have one PTR server, and if necessary, we'll have a second one, but I think we'll only need one for a while. It kind of depends. I mean, I would trial it. We would do the 200 player server, and then if that fills up consistently, we could do a second one, but it's probably not going to get much traction. I honestly think we'll probably only need one. But yeah, I would like to do a 200 just because Gond was huge and it needs more love. But also, if we did 200 player servers, 50 of them are mandatory. You must be an aquatic. You have to be in the ocean. What profiles did I write? I wrote Latin, Yoon, Rex was a team effort. I wrote Ostro, which is not out yet. I wrote Dynon. I wrote Kai, Sachi. And I contributed to some other profiles, but those are the main ones that I wrote. There's probably another one that I'm forgetting. I don't update my profiles a lot, guys. I'm sorry. I'm glad you like Latin. If we do another community meeting, can we have a profile writer available to answer some questions? Yeah, I'll ask for a profile writer to come hang out. I was kidding about the 50 mandatory. There's literally no way for me to enforce that, but it would be so cool if I could. If I could do it, I would. Are you gonna write Moza profile? I don't know, maybe. I do like my aquatic guys.
Mozo probably won't be done well after till Tylo is, on the premise that I don't want to make abilities and stuff and then have Aldron do the same. It's very... And that's the reason why it's taking so long for like PTs, like TLCs for the Apexes, is because it's a pain in the ass for me to program a bunch of stuff and then have it outdone by vanilla stuff, because then at that point I have to redo everything. Like, just as an example, a lot of the stuff that Bars got was originally going to be going to Para, and then I had to go back to the drawing board for it. So, it's very much a wait and see type of deal.
How do you get the option to write a profile? Right now we're not looking for profile writers, but trail guide applications are opening soon, and trail guides will be our kind of like documentary profile people, as well as some profile based events, and that is kind of the entry point to being a profile writer. Will Latin be poly? Probably not. I feel like I'd have to rework some of the profile for that. Would you be interested in using one of the upcoming modded maps like Arizoa or Dry Mesa? Maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen anything about Arizoa's map or Dry Mesa. Who's making Dry Mesa?
That would be... It's Martin, I believe.
Oh. I do
Their
not
stuff
know.
seems cool.
I don't know. I mean, it depends on how their maps look. It's a possibility for sure. It just kind of depends on how big they are. how accessible they are for mobile players as well, because we have mobile players.
I'll say it's between mobile players, storage. I know this used to be a big issue where it would be like 2 gigabytes of a download, which doesn't sound like a lot, but you only have a limited mod space for console specifically. I know PS or PlayStation has a 15 gigabyte limit, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Companies generally are very stingy about storage space, specifically for modding, because it's a new concept. Microsoft, to my knowledge, doesn't have that issue, but Nintendo and Sony are words that I cannot say about it.
Make Utah Raptor heavier than a kilo?
Sorry, no. I mean, aside from the fact that it already is, at least in game, visually, the kilo is larger.
Mm-hmm. If we tried other maps, would we cycle through them every month or something? Probably not. If we picked a map, we'd probably stick with it.
Yeah, the issue with cycling maps is that people will play for the first week and then they won't play because their stuff won't be saved.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, sorry, I missed this. Are dedicated groups specifically species specific, or could I make a dedicated group with the goal of ocean coastal revival? Do that. That'd be sick. I'd join. You can make a dedicated group with as many species as you want. As long as there's somewhere in the server that it says you have to follow PTR rules, it's considered dedicated.
Is PTR going to add all of PT's mods, such as a huge Tyrannosaurus on the trail? Ideally, PTR will. There will be a few exceptions, mainly the mutants, which are mainly meant for a game mode that Cal and I are developing in the future. In addition, when it comes to roster bloat, PT has priority. When it comes to like remakes and stuff, unless it's a special situation, such as Allo, where at least right now, Allo would be the difference between PT, Allo, and Allo in game would be the difference between a Torvo and a Dasp that's slightly smaller, like a subadult Dasp.
Mm-hmm. I think 15 more minutes, y'all. Unless it starts getting crazy, but I'm aiming for 15 more minutes here. Sachi's your favorite playable, impeccable design, and fun to play as. That's sick, man. I love Sachi Love.
Sachi's good. It was a good attempt for Kel and I's first aquatic, but I do want to revisit it. I believe personally that its model could use a little bit more touch-up. Say between that and its abilities are a pain in the ass. So the two only big ones are only for that game mode and won't be put into PTR, correct? The two Tyrannosaurids, which I think I know what you're referring to, they aren't Tyrannosaurids, they're mutants. One is Ferocis, he has... I can't remember, he has 2 or 3 or 2 sets of eyes. Point is, he's a big guy. He's bigger than most sauropods. He's going to be mainly for boss-related events and, like, PvP. You know, like, kill X amount of people, kill street stuff, you get to play as Ferocis for, like, 2 minutes, you know? You don't... Aside from the fact that the mutant isn't realistic, it wouldn't fit into PTR because the hunger drain, and it would be just me made inhospitable for the animal.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you all for coming. How old do you have to be to apply for PTR trainee? 20. 20 for trainee.
Anything staff related has to be 20.
Yeah. Any estimated release dates for PT playables? No ETAs. Unfortunately not.
No, too many things happen to the point where we don't have a consistent way to release playables. Mainline updates and approval times take long enough to the point where I can't reliably say it's going to release by S.
Yerp.
I know this is technically a PT question, but Meitu decide to go back on and add more skins to existing mods. It heavily depends on what the skin artist wants to do. We never prioritize skin artists to do mods unless it's the one that we're actively working on. They're also paid for their time and effort. So it's entirely up to the skin artist if they want to add more stuff, because Kel and my priority is focusing on either TLCs, ability reworks, or new stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'm 4 years old. You are the youngest person ever. You're 1 year old. That's awesome. Happy birthday. Assuming you just turned 1 today, that's great news. Yeah, like Doobie has said, things get very sensitive. It used to be 18, but as things progressed and I saw more and more about what we had to deal with, I kind of figured it would be better to do 20 plus just because of everything that we do end up seeing.
Being 20 has a little bit more leeway when it comes to emotional maturity than 18.
You're
I know that I would not trust myself when I was 18 versus when I was 20.
Same. Can I keep eating PTR's undersea cable, or are y'all done with Ripple Beach? Go for it, man.
I was say, there's usually something with Alderon that ends up making Ripple Beach a mainstay.
I hope they figure out what's going on with the crashes soon.
I mean, each patch has been delivering more fixes.
Yeah.
Alderon specifically has helped our semi-realism server because AI nests were polluting the console.
Maybe
so,
I need
Alderon
to
good. They just
make
take
a ticket with them.
Take a little time.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, that's
I know
probably your
PTR's
best
struggling
bet.
a little bit.
As long as you have your lawns.
Yeah, I mean, I tried the fixes that they gave to the semi-realism for like the config stuff, but it did not work for us. But I'll probably make a ticket and see if anything's spamming the config.
Yeah.
Did all the staff who were under 20 get kicked from the team when you changed the age limit? No. Nope. They were what's the word? They were grandfathered in. At that point, they had proven that, I guess, to an extent, that they could handle what we were dealing with. There were some that were demoted because they could not put up with what was going on. And we could see certain levels of immaturity in both discussions and, like, public image. So some ended up stepping down. And also, like, we spoke to them and they stepped down after we had an in-depth discussion. But I think now, probably our youngest staff is maybe like 19 years old, but nobody was forced to leave. Are we ever going to use Alderon's nest with eggs or just pot bot? I would like to, when they turn off the nest growth stuff. I would like to. But I think the nesting tutorial. Hold on, let me check that, actually. I don't know if that's been fixed yet or not. I've not been keeping an eye on it because I honestly kind of forgot, but yeah. yeah, they had a config where what's the word? They had a config where everything got like all jacked up, man.
To scroll up a little bit, Torvo currently does not have. It has some ideas for changes, but it's unsure if it's going to be changed at this point. And as for the mod side, it's not something that I'm going to publicly reveal at this time.
Please make an age limit for the server in general. Crying kids account for so many reports.
Well, Discord's age limit is 13, so if someone's below 13, they need to be banned on spot.
Get him out of here. I dream every day about 18 plus PTR, but alas.
Yeah, I was say putting that label on PTR makes people think not safe for work stuff is going on.
Exactly, and plus that would be like awful for the people who are like underage who've already integrated and are having fun. So yeah, I'm not seeing an egg config, so until they fix that. I have a ticket or two about not having my pink name in game and the pink tag keeps getting taken. Is the bot still really messed up that's causing that? Can you ping me in the ticket and I can take a look into it? And maybe
just say that Knife said it was okay to ping.
Yeah, and I can see if I can manually add the config there. Guys, we are almost at 20k people in our server, which is nuts. We're at 19,555. Could you elaborate on report shaming, since there's so many reports saying he's report shaming even though they're just asking questions? Sure, I like that question. Report shaming would be ostracizing one or making someone feel bad for submitting a report. That would essentially be along the lines of... it's kind of hard to think of an example off the top of my head. I'm trying to think of maybe kicking someone out of your group because they make too many reports, or pinging someone and like bullying them and saying something along the lines of I don't want to group with you because I've seen you break so many rules in the report channel, or you get reported too much, we're not grouping, you know, something like that. You're kind of shaming somebody for their report history on PTR. Asking questions about a report that you are involved in or trying to get clarification on a situation isn't report shaming. Belittling someone's report just because someone thinks it isn't a big deal could be report shaming. Yeah, that as well. That would also be considered as report shaming. Imagine being 17 and playing PTR for 2 years and all this. Yeah, that's exactly why I would never do that. It's funny to think about. I also think about how different our player base would be if that were the case. That'd be funny. I think we got a good community. I think the community is, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm seeing a lot of people sometimes at each other's throats for really no good reason. Sometimes I see a lot of tension in the PTR chat, or every single time I make a decision or staff does something, it kind of gets like people get way up in arms and say that they need more of a say, or say that every decision we make is not the right decision and stuff like that. It can get kind of draining with time. Also with the community, with each other itself, I see a lot of people indirectly bad-mouthing other people in the community and referencing vague posting. I think vague posting is the term I'm looking for. People will kind of vague post and say things about somebody else and get away with it because they're not name dropping, and disagree in such a way where it kind of picks a fight, or, you know, stuff like that. And I don't really know what to do about it, because, you know, we can crack down on rudeness a little bit more. We can crack down more on misinformation. We can crack down on people being passive aggressive with each other, but then we're seen as heavy-handed, you know? Can a person push someone out of the group for breaking a lot of rules while in the group? Yeah. If somebody's rule breaking a lot, you don't have to group with them. That would not be seen as report shaming. You're just kind of protecting your peace and protecting your own group to not engage with somebody who's breaking rules.
You'll never be forced to play with someone that you don't want to play with.
That too. TikTok PTR crashes are interesting to scroll upon. Dude, all the PTR TikToks are really crazy.
My favorite ones are saying that they're overly ban happy, and then they end up saying that they said a slur.
I've seen a few of those where I got banned for my freedom of speech, and it's like, dude, you called somebody like a racist slur. What do you mean? What's your favorite profile in PTR? Oh God, what a question. I'm Latin biased. I'll always be Latin biased. But I also really like Carno. And I like Stego as well. Yes, what Deeds said. How can we police people outside of the server? How do we moderate these TikToks? Do we go the heavy-handed route and ban people who are spreading misinformation on TikTok or dragging our server name? Or do we let them get away with it because it's technically off-platform? What do we do about that? It's really hard. Carno love never. What do you mean, bro? Carno's fun.
More fun after it's TLC.
I was going to I like my own profile. What can I say? I wrote it. It's cool. And then Oster is going to be my favorite after. And then I'm taking Carno off the list. I think the level of moderation PTR does is great, strict enough, but also encourages people to learn the block button exists. Real. I mean, I think PTR is at a good place where we moderate what needs to be moderated. A lot of people will take it personally, though. I think personal disputes, and yeah, I agree about the block button in situations where people are kind of at wit's ends with each other. I think they kind of need to figure that out amongst themselves. It's not a server, it's not a 20,000 person server's job to dismantle personal beef, you know? Why the public shaming report system? Public shaming report system. A few reasons. Firstly, it's not public shaming to be corrected about a mistake you made in game. Everybody makes mistakes. I've been publicly reported before. I take it on the nose. You know, if I fudged up, I messed up, and I need to be told what I did wrong. And it's good for other people to see how their report goes so they can reference it for their own in-game situations. Secondly, if we handled everything in private, we're going to get even more claims of staff bias and corruption than we already do. We have everything posted publicly for people to see, yet people still will come and say, yeah, I've seen so many biased staff reports even though the evidence is laid out for them. And I don't want to deal with more community versus staff discontent and the animosity in the air that we already have with people, you know? So, you know, if everything went private, what's stopping us from saying, yeah, this person broke a rule, and then not giving that person a penalty because we're biased, or not giving you a revive because we don't feel like it, or banning someone privately just because we can do so. There's nothing stopping us from doing that. But public reports do keep us accountable. And obviously, you know, if we went private, we would never do anything like that. But it's about the visibility and the transparency. And it's always been a part of PTR, and it's not something I feel like changing. Thank you. Can staff even moderate other servers if they don't specify their PTR dedicated, like a server very clearly has PTR content? but their rules don't say they're dedicated to PTR. If it doesn't specify that they're dedicated, it wouldn't be considered as dedicated. We would only moderate things said in there if it is zero tolerance related. Or, yeah, if it's zero tolerance related. In a group with this many people, conflict is bound to happen. Being chill and respectful goes a long way. Yep. Totally agree with that, Gojira. Could you elaborate the loopholing rule? I got mentioned in a report for it, but I didn't understand why or what that rule exactly is. Loopholing can be a lot of different things. It's specifically attempting to find a way around a rule. And even if it like wasn't your intent to loophole, it'll be listed under better judgment. It's not necessarily a loophole thing, it's using better judgment in your gameplay. For example, standing on the edge of a platform while you are on death scars and then making your body inaccessible because you're cliff camping on the very, very tippity edge of a cliff and you're floating off this cliff and then your body rolls down the cliff. You might get dinged for better judgment because if you're that close to the edge, your body's not going to be accessible. Another example might be you get challenged by a territorial species in like Green Hills. It's a plains-based species. And so you get challenged in Green Hills and then you go to the very edge of Birchwoods and you hang out on the edge of the forest and you T-pose and stare at them and then they attack you. And you go, why did you attack me? I was outside of the plains territory, even though you're on the very edge between plains and forest. Thinking you're safe. Or, yeah, like trying to stand there and then saying that, you know, they can't attack you. It's contextually dependent. We do moderate Dynasty, no? No, we don't moderate Dynasty. Is there a rule for purposefully leaving out context evidence to incriminate or get another user punished? There's not a rule. Depending on what's discovered, it definitely could fall under better judgment, but it's not something that's explicitly stated. There's a lot of things that fall under better judgment, man. There's like, if we had to make a rule for every single thing that was ever reported, PTR's rule bloat would be so much more intense than it is now. Zero tolerance, yeah, we do. Zero tolerance in Dynasty, yeah. I work very closely with, what's her name? Kittyful. I think that's one of the owners of Dynasty. We talk from time to time and we discuss, you know, if somebody does something heinous in PTR, I'll DM Kitty and say, hey, this person's in your server, you might want to check that out. If somebody says a slur in Dynasty, Kitty's gonna DM me and let me know what's going on. So, you know, us server owners will work together and we'll make sure that people who are being bad aren't welcome in the Path of Titans community. Raw read a ridiculous one where Pakis were standing around after losing a challenge, then penalizing the Utahs for getting in their faces. I mean, I can't really speak on it without knowing the situation there. But if you want, I mean, anybody who sees a public report and has questions on it, you're always open to make a talk to mod ticket, even if you're not involved in that report. They're public for a reason. If you have questions on it and you want clarification as to why something was ruled a certain way, we elaborate further there. I usually see some report discussions who do get penalized for acting out of... Yeah, we penalize people for acting out of profile. I mean, you have to do a very specific profile break. For example, if you're being very friendly and loving on a sty who is notoriously territorial, antagonistic, and aggressive, you're probably going to get bonked for that. Let's look at Dynon, for example. Let me just check something here. Typically, it's the wording where it says, they will do this, or they do this. If it says they may do this, or they will sometimes do this, it's not something that we're going to enforce, because that is more so flavor for you to follow. Definitely follow it when you can. But unless it says will or will always and stuff like that, that's the stuff that we roll on there. Good morning. Any ETA when the Potbot pictures will be updated with the ones that won the contest? I don't know. I do not know. Probably not too long. It won't be too hard to do so. Sadly, many interaction lately on PTR has been lacking in realism. A lot of chat and not following profile and schedules. Don't know what can be done about it though. Talk it out. See if you can let the people that you're engaging with who are breaking profile know how they're breaking profile. If they continue to do so after, maybe follow up with a report. I would always recommend trying to talk things over with people and just, you know, let them know of what they're doing wrong. Guide them in the right direction. Just say like, hey, you know, try this out. I think it depends on the day, really. And it's, funnily enough, I have days where every single interaction I come across is wonderful, and then some days I have days where I'm nothing but frustrated, and it kind of sucks. You never know what you're gonna come across. But you know, it's something that I think every server experiences. We're not gonna have people who are 100% awesome role players all the time. Everybody's learning, you know. Would you ever consider an aquatic-only PTR server?
Would die very fast.
Yeah, that's my opinion on it. I think it'd be popular for like a week, and people would love it for a week, and then it would lose its what's the word I'm looking for? Its novelty. Yeah. Could we reinstate apps open every month? We're talking about it. It's something to discuss with check-in after the fact. I've already gotten several pings about it in my staff chat, so. I don't understand why people who come for PvP apply for a roleplay server. I don't know how we can assume somebody's here specifically for PvP. I think a lot of the people are coming to try to enjoy a realistic roleplay experience, and a lot of them might not have the roleplay portfolio that a lot of other people do here. So when they come in, they're coming in from places like Juniper or, you know, death matches and stuff like that, where they're having a good time over there, and they come in and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna do awesome in a roleplay server. I'm gonna survive every fight I get into because I'm super good at PvP. And then they might focus more on preserving their dinosaur instead of realistically engaging with somebody. So I mean, that's something to consider. That's why I always recommend, you know, push people in the right direction. But yeah, it's kind of rough. Watched a Pycno run from their body and attacked my Latin friend. All 8 of us jumped them. Abandoning body, hunting without being hungry, like gestures vaguely to all the rules they might have broken. We weren't even aware of the body till they died, and someone watching told us. That's crazy. They shouldn't be attacking scavengers until the scavengers are actively taking stuff. Okay, guys, I'm gonna close this off in like 5 minutes here, so thumbs up. It's been cool. We've been at this for like 2.5 hours though. But thank you for everyone who came. I'm really happy with the turnout, and I think a lot of great questions were asked, so I want to host another another rule, or not rule, sorry, another meeting. I think that'd be cool. You're right, Tearsel. It does say 5 body links. My bad. Misspoke. We could do advertise having background on realistic servers, but I doubt that would do anything. People could just lie. Nothing stopping anyone from saying, I've done this and this and this. Sorry if you've been asked this before, will PTR always be on Gondwa? If a map comes out that looks good, if it looks pretty, and if it's compatible with mobile players, and it's not, like, dumb with the biomes and everything, if it'll make sense with what we got going on here, yeah, I would switch off Gondwa. I don't really like Gondwa. But, you know, we need the right map to come along, so. Please lock territorial species into only 1 or 2 biomes. Maybe. Make an all muted VC besides the staff part of the conversation. Yeah, there's ways to do it on Discord, but this stage can only host 100 people, and the stream has hit over 100 several times, so that's the reason why it's on YouTube, because we can only have 100 people in a Discord stage, and if we did it on Discord, there would probably be a lot more people than 100 just because of how big the server is. But yeah, next time I'll get Stry in here, and maybe Nautilus again, and maybe another staff member, who knows. Since the new map update, Gondwa is not Gondwaing anymore. They're making nice changes, they're making some good adjustments, I'm pretty happy with how it's looking. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of past Gondwa. How about I teleport everyone onto Red Island, and King of the Hill, last person standing wins. No, but if I do that, then I'm PvP focused. You'll patrol the ocean around the island. I will teleport you onto the middle of the island, and you can die of dehydration. Thumbs up. Everyone gets teleported on the island. Anno Ball when? Yeah, I think we should do more fun events during shutdown. I think it'd be fun. Like when we did the if you die you get banned event, that was pretty funny. But it was a lot of work. I probably wouldn't give out prizes like that again. I would just host it for fun with no prizes. Okay, guys. I'm beat. It's been good. I think we had a lot of good discussions, and appreciate y'all for stopping by and asking a bunch of questions and stuff. I'm gonna close up here.
It's not enough mature people to function with the server.
It was crazy how the community reacted to that.
Like, disgusting behavior on both sides.
Yeah, it was wild. Yeah, guys, bye-bye. I had fun. We'll do this again. I just need to figure out a time. Probably when I come back from my fishing trip, because I'm going to be fishing for a while, but when I get back from that, maybe we'll have another discussion and kind of get things rolling. Bye bye. I'm glad you guys had fun.